Today, I'm going to show you how you can rig and animate a character in Blender using Inverse Kinematics very fast and easy. Let's get to it. So here I am in Blender. I'm using version 3.3.1 and I got my screencast keys in the bottom left so you can see exactly what I click and type. So right off the bat, we are going to make a very simple model that's going to be super quick and easy. That way we can go ahead and follow along and have the exact same design. And if you already have your own mesh, feel free to just sit back and relax and watch. But basically, we have our default cube. Click on this man, G to move it, Z, and let's press number 3 on the keyboard, and we should have them up about right here. Now, let's go ahead and just tap into edit mode. And I'm going to add a loop cut or 2 by doing Command R or Control R, depending on your Mac or Windows, and then just press the number 2, and then that should give you 2 loop cuts. And then I can simply hit escape, and now we have 2 loop cuts like this. Let me zoom in really quick. And then we can go to the side view, or you can press 3 on your actual keyboard, and then do loop cut again, Command R or Control R, press number 2, and then click, and then press escape. And then we're gonna add one more loop cut. I'm just going to do Command R again with 2, click, escape, and here we go. Now we got our design right here. So basically, I'm going to go over to this right side area, click on the face select, click right here, press 1, E to extrude it, and then we can go about right here. And this can be the elbow joint. Then we can go again. This can be basically the remaining part of the arm, and if you want to add little hands, you could do it like this. And if you want to, you can like scale it down a little bit just to tell the difference. And for actual joints, ideally you'd like to add some loop cuts. So if you are just making a basic design, we'll add 3 loop cuts. So 1 here and 1 here, plus the one in the middle. That would make it 3. And then for the hand as well, or essentially the wrist. And then I'm just doing Command R and just clicking and just dragging. And then we can just make some legs, so I can just go down here. And one thing I did forget to do is actually add a loop cut in the middle. And then we'll hit escape, Command Z, click onto our vertices mode, select this half, hit X, vertices, and then go down here and click on add modifier and mirror, add clipping, and now we have essentially the same side here. So that way now if I click on face select, and then if you want to make life easier, click on the solid view, click on this bottom one, press 1, E to extrude it, and now we have our legs and they're moving side by side. And then I can extrude again, and then I can extrude one more time, and then I can actually add in some feet by clicking here on this front face, E, extrude it, and we can go here to the edge select, click on this top edge, double G, press it twice, and it can bring it down just like that. And if you want to scale it in, I mean, you could select these 2 on the edge sides and scale it in as well. It's up to you, but actually unselect this top part, so just the sides, SX, just like that. And we got basic feet. And we have to add the loop cuts in right now, because if we start to add them with the actual armature, it could deform and not be fun for you. And then for this little ankle, we can add some loop cuts there as well. And here, keep it just like that. And now, let's go ahead and add in the armature. So, first things first, we're going to do Shift A, Armature, go over to this running man, click on the viewport display, and click on in front. So now when I move the armature up, you can see it's G just like this, and I can scale it down, and then basically it's in front so we can see the view. Now we can tap into edit mode, select here, E, Z to extrude it, and again, if your mesh is larger, you can add multiple ones. So I can add one like right here, and then easy again. If you have a neck, a head, you would extrude up there. But for simplicity's sake, we're just going to focus mainly on the arms and the legs, which most people are going to be using anyways. And then here, I can simply click on this X option right here, and this will allow us to mirror both sides. So now if I do Shift E, I can double create the bones, so it's much faster. And then what I want to do is do Shift Z, so we can see exactly the loop cuts we added for the joints. So now I can do E now, and stop it like right in the middle here. E again, and then E one more time. And then same for this hips. Let's do Shift E, click it out like here, bring it down a little bit, and then click on this E, go down to the knee joints, E again, except this time we're going to keep it basically down towards the foot, so I'll go down a little lower, and then we can E on 3, view, E extrude it out like that. And then here I could probably move that up like right there. Now it's important, since we're using inverse kinematics, that you need to emphasize where the joint bends. So for knees, most models you would bend it essentially with like a forward angle like this. So we're on the 3 side view, so move it like that. And then if you press 7 on top view, you want your elbows to be slightly bent. And that way I'm doing it for this design here. Now if you have a completely different character with weird bone, armature, deforms, definitely bend it differently. But for the most basic models, it's gonna be like this. And then pretty much now if we were to just go here, and let me go back to solid view. If you just simply click on your mesh and then shift click on your bone, Command P or Control P, you'll see this option with automatic weights. So now technically this is just a basic rig where if you do Control Tab, this puts us into pose mode. Now if your computer setting doesn't have that, let me go back, click on the armature, go to object, go to pose mode that way. And basically now you can test out and make sure that you actually connected it properly. And I'm just clicking on the bone and pressing G to move it and R to rotate, or G, you can see. And for the most part, it looks like it worked in terms of connecting everything. And it looks like the loop cuts and everything are fine. Nothing's crazy. And the one thing is that I don't like that I have to physically click on here on this bone just to move the entire arm. But if I want to move here, it doesn't move it. Or if I want to move the entire arm, I have to go individually, go like this, then like this, and it can get annoying. And I can do Option or R or Alt R depending on your computer, and that resets it, the movement. And now we're actually implement inverse kinematics, and even on the leg too, before we do it, so you can see exactly what's going on. Right now you see how the leg, it's just not working because you don't have inverse kinematics on right now. So I mean, it moves, but it doesn't move in the way where you have to go in there individually, tag every bone in, and then move it that way. It's kind of annoying. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go into edit mode, click on this middle arm bone, and note this only is for this current setup, assuming you have hands on your character and some feet. If it's more complex, obviously you'd have to adapt and change the settings, which I'll show you in just a second. So click on the edge, the little circle right here, and then basically press E to extrude it, and make sure we have the mirror still, and try to make it a little bit bigger than this bone just so we can see it. And then click on this bone, and then first off, let's go ahead and click on this bone here and name it. So I'm gonna say IK underscore, let's call this hand dots, and assuming this is facing us, we'll do L. And then we need to go over to this option right here, this bone, and then IK underscore hand dot R, and basically click here, do either Option P or Alt P depending on your computer, and clear the parent. And then you can double check just to make sure, and it looks like we have it mirrored, so it's fine. Now that means when I click it and press G, I can move it around, and you don't see any sort of like connecting dots. If you got like these, you can see clearly it's still connected, so hit escape. So now what I can do is I can go here, and I'm gonna show you two ways to do this. So first thing is you need to first off go into pose mode. So I'm gonna do Control Tab, and it opens up this window and goes to pose mode. If you don't see that, simply go and click on pose mode here. Now this way is the manual way, and then after I want to show you the shortcut. So we have this new option here, this little bone constraint property. If I go here, add bone constraint, we can click on inverse kinematics. Now the problem is we want this to be added on the middle bone. So what I'm gonna do is exit off this really quick, and we want this middle bone to have the actual IK. So when I click here, inverse kinematics, and then I can go ahead and make the targets the armature, and the bone go down here, and we're gonna select this one will be the left. And now I need the chain length to be 2 because I wanted to go up 2 bones. So now we want to go back to this bone and make sure we have deform off. Now when I select this option, look at this. Now the entire arm moves, and it actually bends with the actual joint the way that we actually had it. So if I go to 7, see how it's bending backwards? It'll move it in that direction of where we set up that bone. And then now, if you wanted to, you can move, see, now the entire arm moves just by clicking this first one. And then if you wanted to manually adjust stuff, you could, but you can see now if you want to move here, then you can rotate the hand off manually. And this is just a very basic IK model for the arms. And that's essentially one way. Notice too that the mesh moves when we move the arm, which I'll fix it in a second. I'll show you guys how to do that with weight paints. But let's do again Option G and then Alt R if you want to disconnect or reset it. And then same thing. Now this is going to show you the shortcut. So what we do now is select the IK bone. And then if you don't remember, make sure you click here to see exactly which one you select, because if you click on a different one, it'll show a different name like that. So make sure you click on the right hand IK we just created. Pressing Shift, click on this middle arm bone. And then we can do Shift, Command C, or Shift, Control C. And this will bring up little shortcuts, and then just simply click on Inverse Kinematics. So now if I click on to our actual bone here, we go over to our constraints, I can just change the chain length to 2 now. Go back to the little bone icon, make sure deform's off. Click here, and look, now we have it just working just like that. So for the general part of this, it's working. So now we gotta do Control Tab, go back into Object, and I can go Control Tab, it switches back. But I want to go back to Object. I want to go to Edit mode now, and we need to create a IK bone for the feet now. So here I'm just going to do EZ extrude it, and from this I can see both work. Okay, perfect. So now we do the same exact thing. I can select it. We'll do Option P or Alt P, clear the parents, and then we'll just name this one. I'll call this one IK underscore foot, and this is going to be the left foot. And then over here, IK underscore foot dot R. It's important you name it dot L dot R the way I did it, so that way it knows. And basically, we'll go here and we'll just do, again, I'll just do it the shortcut way and then the normal way. So first off, let's do the normal way first. So Control Tab, Pose Mode. First off, take off deform, and then I want to click on this middle bone here, click on bone constraints, add bone constraints, Inverse Kinematics, targets will be our armature, the bone, this will be the IK foot.L, and then chain link will be 2. So now if I click here, this should bring the whole leg up and knee just like that. Boom, we're kicking just like that. So now we'll switch over, click on this bone, pressing Shift, click on that bone, doing the shortcut now, Shift Command C or Shift Control C, and Inverse Kinematics, and simply change the chain length to 2. Click here, bada bing, bada boom. And now what I want to do is fix one thing is the mesh is moving. Hold on, let me do, oh, I didn't mean to hide that. One thing is fix this mesh part from moving, which I don't like. One thing I want to fix is if I rotate this, it just looks weird. It doesn't move the arms the way I want it to. So one way we can do this is if we do Control Tab, go back to the edit mode. So here, object mode, edit mode. I can select these 2 bones by holding Shift and then select the middle spine bone. And then I can do Command P and keep offset. So now if I go into pose mode, click here, rotate it, look at that. Now we have our arms shaking like this, but we can still move our arm just like we had beforehand, and it's still perfectly fine, except now we can actually rotate it just like that. And now let's go back to object mode. So now that we're back in object mode, the first things we need to do is fix the mesh moving when the bone actually moves here. So first select the armature and then shift click on the cube man or the mesh, go over to object and go to weight paint. And then now in order to select the specific bone, we would hold either control or command. And you can see here the inverse one, but basically this bone right here is the one that's affecting it. And we go to this little world icon, close, subtract. And basically the dark blue is what you want to get rid of. So if I go to 3, you can see, let me go and increase the strength. And basically I want this side to just be like non-colored. And now we can see here, and pretty much the dark blue means that it's not affecting that mesh. But then if you have, for example, I click here, you can see it's the basic orange and darker red, that's when it's essentially affecting. Even on the leg right here, I don't want it to affect this side, so I'll get rid of some of this here. And if you do mess up on some of the coloring, all you need to do is pretty much switch it from subtract to add, and then that's how you can add in weight paint to specific bones that you want to affect. And for the most part, like these hips, I mean, I really don't need them to do much right now, so I can just simply click out of it and then just have them like that. But again, if you want your bones to be something to affect that actual part of the body or the model, then definitely feel free. So now if we click on Armature, Control Tab, or back switch it to pose mode. Now when I move this, look at how perfectly straight this mesh is now, and it's not actually moving it. And then I can move the leg over here, and I can move his leg, and he's chilling perfect just like that. So I hit escape, and now it is time to animate. So basic rig we have here, and model, and we have our keyframes down below. So if you don't know how to get there, if you somehow clicked out, basically you just go here and click back on timeline. So here is essentially the first view, and also let's save this really quick by going to File, Save As. So I went ahead and saved it, and now we can go ahead and start animating. So if you already know basic animation, then you're good to go, but for most people, if you haven't, and this is your first time, basically this design or this animation will be very simple. Pretty much I'm going to show you how keyframes work and how to move the character. So the first way is you want to have a first pose or a fixed pose you want your character to be chilling in. So we have, my guy just has his arms out, right? If you want your character to have arms like down here, then you could keep them down here. But for simplicity's sake, we'll keep it like this. I'm going to press A to select everything, all the bones. While I'm in pose mode, press I on my keyboard, location, rotation, scale. And now if I switch to like 10 frames, I can go ahead and let's move the arm. I want to just go like this, move it up. And then if you want to change angles, you can do that, rotate the hand, you know, stuff like that. But we'll keep it like this for now. And then pretty much I'll put this arm and we can move the hands like down here. So I'll press A again, I, location, rotation, scale. And now if we go in and reset it, or you can do shift left arrow, you can see our character just move like that. And then now I can go to 20, go here, move it back. Let's do it down now. Move this one up here. Press A, select them all. I, location, rotation, scale. Shift left back arrow resets the first one. And now we have this little arm animation. And then we can switch this keyframes. You want to do like 100, or if you want to do basic, we can do like 40. And then now if you want to, I can just select these two and do Shift D and just copy them over. And then now you can see, and actually let's do like 41. So now let me try and see how this looks. And that's basically how we have our guy just doing that. And then if you wanted to add in, like, for example, the legs to move like here, we can do that. A, select I, location, rotation, scale. So now we have like this. And then I can do even over here. And then A, I, click. And then we can select both of these by holding Shift, Shift D, and then move them here. So now we have a little character dancing, and I'll just change the view like this. And now we have it moving around just like that. So that's a very basic way to animate and rate the character. And then if you want to, again, we can go here to preview. And let's go to material preview, simply click here. Well, actually, just get out of pose mode first. You can change the color of your character right here. Move it like, you know, red, pink, whatever color you want it. And then when you're finally ready to render, obviously if you want to change it from cycle, EV, depends. But you could go here and add some lighting too, like a basic area light, scale it up, GZ. And then I can do GY, rotate X. Here, change the lights to like, let's just do like 200. And then camera, can click it by pressing 0. Click on the edge, shift left asterisk, or the right next to the 1 on the keyboard, and then shift W, A, S, or D, just like in video games, to move it to whatever angle you want it to, like maybe like right here. And then you can hit play. Looks like this. You can do shift A, add in a plane, scale it up, tab edit mode, click on the edge select, EZ, move it up like this. Click on the edge select, Control B or Command V to bevel, and then basically make it like this. go back to object mode, right click, shade smooth, scale on the X, just like that. And then we can go here to cycles, boom. We can add in some more lighting. I'll just make this simple, change it like a sun, put it like a 1, 2, way too bright. And then here we can probably do, we can add a material on this one, go like this. And then basically, let's do roughness like super high like that. And then GY, maybe move it in closer or move it away farther. It's up to you. And then pretty much once you have your design, what you like, you can go over here to this icon. And I'll just do 128 here. And then animation, I'll do like 512. And then pretty much go and let's go back over to this icon. Name your file here. Choose where you want to save it. And for now, I'm using just FFmpeg video. But again, if you have like a really slow computer, you can change that to photos and then copy it into like editor and do it from there. And then for the actual meta, well, actually let's go to encoding, my bad. Encoding, change this to MPG4. Quality, you can change that whatever you like. And then pretty much go here, render animation. And then boom, there is your animation. And depending on how fast your computer is, it'll render this either fast or slow. And then from there, you go ahead and save it. And you can go here, save it as to whatever file you want to. And then that will be your animation. So it's going to take quite a bit, so I'm going to exit off this. But again, like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.